Hi, my name is Nathan Fryer, and I'm a program manager in the Office organization in Microsoft. And today I'm going to talk to you about search and the Office productivity applications, that being specifically Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. I'm going to talk about how search provides the foundation for efficient, quick task completion by giving users access to the world of knowledge that's available in the organization, their own personal knowledge and content, as well as the public web, the world's knowledge. And how layering command search on top of that can really empower users to do a lot in an efficient amount of time inside the applications. But before we get into the meat of the presentation, I want to start by diving into a demo and showing you just how powerful the search experience can be. So this is probably a familiar scenario to a lot of you. You're inside a document, you've been working on it for a while, and you've got some placeholders in it. In this case, I've got a note to myself. There's something missing here. It's a visual showing some considerations to account for. And I've given myself a note to check for this international marketing strategy document where I think this visualization is stored. I can actually use search to solve this problem. So if I right click on this and open the context menu, there's an item in the context menu that says search, and it's searching the keyword that's selected. So if I select that, immediately I get results back on the right hand side in this pane for the term in the context of the document. So it's taking the signal of the document itself and pulling back results. I get a range of different results here, and this is actually the document that I want. Now, there's a couple different actions I could take on this. One is to just open it directly. Maybe I want to insert a link or reuse content. In this case, I actually just want to click on it, and I'm going to reuse content from the document itself. So it opens in this pane on the right-hand side and gives me a little bit of a preview of the document. I can see the content in here, and there's the visualization that I was looking for, just the thing I wanted. So if I come back here and I select this line, I can replace that line with the content from the document itself. And just like that, I've addressed the task that I had for myself, and I can move on to the next bit of work that I have. So this is the power of search integrated into the apps, and we're going to be showing you a lot more of that today. Okay, so that was a quick demo showing you how content reuse can work inside Word Online. And now I want to jump to a common question that we get. Why would users move from existing ways of finding content? What is it about search that really is the thing that's going to pull them out of switching over to a browser or switching over to their file explorer, what have you, to find content? Well, search is really about delivering contextually relevant results inside apps like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. It uses the context of the application itself to inform the relevance of the search results, enabling users to find content and commands really quickly and easily in the application context. Search in Office also empowers users to find the action services and content to complete their work and have better results more efficiently. And ultimately, this is all about reducing the need to context switch. When users have to context switch, that's a distraction. It gets in the way of their task flow. If we can reduce that, that's a win for everybody. So we're looking to try and keep users in the context of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint in order for them to complete their task. Let's talk a little bit about what Microsoft Search is and how search within the Office applications fits within a broader scheme at Microsoft. So for us, we're looking at Microsoft Search as an intelligent search experience. This intelligence is powered by the Microsoft Graph and Microsoft AI. And it really means that we can process the queries in a way that allows us to understand context, regional language differences, correct for spelling, errors, all sorts of powerful, intelligent services that allow us to get the user to their result, the answer for their query as quickly as possible without hassle so that they can get their work done. And this intelligence is throughout the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. That takes us to how Microsoft Search really shows up inside Microsoft 365 as a ubiquitous capability. So no matter where you are in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, Search is there for you. And Search is actionable. The results that come back from Microsoft Search are there to take action on top of so that you can complete your task. Microsoft Search is also flexible, so that it can really adapt to the needs of your organization and personalized to you as a user. And ultimately, Microsoft Search is trusted, and it follows the same and aligns with the same privacy and trust principles as Microsoft 365 as a whole. So Microsoft Search is really broadly available. It's lighting up inside Bing, Office.com, SharePoint, Edge, Windows, et cetera, et cetera. It's one capability that is powered by the Microsoft Graph and Bing technology and delivers to every experience within Microsoft 365 to help users get their work done. Today, I'm going to be focusing on Word, PowerPoint, and Excel in particular. But before we get into that, let's talk about what the power of data really means in this context. When you're talking about multiple graphs, in some sense, there's the world's knowledge and all of the graph that's available, all of the data that's available out in the world. There's organizational knowledge, and then there's individual knowledge. And all of these are important and critical to supporting the search process and enabling users to get their work done quickly. So when we talk about world knowledge, we have 2.5 billion entities indexed in Bing and made available via Microsoft Search. This is a really powerful tool to get access to the world's knowledge. And especially with inside Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you can start using that knowledge to actually produce artifacts, produce documents, spreadsheets, and PowerPoint decks much more quickly and efficiently. Of course, the organizational knowledge with our 180 million Office 365 users is a powerful source of information. And we'll talk about that in the rest of this presentation as well, of how you can get access to that via search within the apps. And finally, there's just the individual knowledge. We have over 500 million LinkedIn members. Each of these individuals has a rich set of knowledge of their own, content, assets, things that they need access to, as well as the network that they exist within and the people that they collaborate with and work with on a daily basis. All of this comes together to power Microsoft Search. All right, so let's talk specifically about Microsoft Search within the Office applications. When we talk about Microsoft Search, we really are talking about how we seamlessly connect and reconnect users with knowledge of the enterprise and the organization that they're in, as well as the world, to enable them to find relevant actions within the apps and informed by the context of their work, the actual document that they're working on, the documents that are around them. All of this informs that task that they're engaged in, and it informs Microsoft Search to help them complete that task. And ultimately, this is about delivering better results for the users. All right, so let's jump into a demo that talks about the search as a whole, the search experience, and provides an introduction to how search is integrated into Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. We'll focus on Word primarily for this demo, but the canvases and the surfaces that are shown in this demo apply just as easily to PowerPoint and Excel as well, and you'll see those shown off in later demos in the presentation. All right, so let's begin. So I'm starting my workflow today in SharePoint, and I've got a file that I need to make some modifications on. So I have to find that file. So I'm going to go directly up into the search box at the top and start typing the name of the file. And immediately there in the search suggestions, we get the file that I'm looking for, which is great. So I'm going to click on that and open it up. Now search is integrated into the productivity apps. I'm going to talk through some of the core surface areas in which that search experience is available. So this is the document that I'm working on, and there's a few tasks in here that I will walk through throughout the talk today. But right now we're just going to sort of show off some of the different experiences. So you'll notice right at the top there's a prominent search box. And this is available for quick triage of all sorts of things, including commanding, so that you can get access to commands and the capabilities of the app. You can search for things like people, knowledge, files. There's a number of different experiences available here. When I click into the app, as you can see, I'm immediately given suggestions for the types of commands that I might want to execute, the next steps in my workflow. And these are intelligently suggested to me as I work through any given task. So these suggestions will change and are dynamic. You also see that people are being suggested as potential contacts and collaborators. This gives me quick access to the people that I want to collaborate with in my work context. If I type a query, then I will start to see results showing up that are relevant to that query. So for example, here I've just typed a simple query like bold, and I immediately get an action to bold something if I wish. I can also find and document that term. I can get help on that term if I wanted. And I'm given public knowledge immediately about the definition of that term, which is great. And if I want to, I could see more results for bold. So this is kind of the search box experience and how we give quick access to knowledge. It's all about giving you the power to search for the things that you need to do to complete your work. Let's look at the pane. Maybe we'll do a different term here. How about we look up something like Ignite? So if we look up Ignite, we get some results, and we can actually click on that term, and we get a result pane on the right-hand side that opens up and starts providing us with information about what is available to us in this term. And this includes both public knowledge, so things from the web, as you can see here, and also, documents that are around me are available to me that I can open up and make use of if I so choose. So this is our search pane, and there's a number of different things that you can do here. And throughout the talk today, you'll be seeing the variety of experiences that are available. But this includes everything from pictures to web results, definitions, etc. And in fact, there's a drop down here that also lets you explore different verticals. So you can jump directly to files, for example, or you can search inside this file if you want. So this is the second surface area for search that's integrated. It's a persistent pane that allows you to work with search results while you're also authoring on the document. And it's a great complement to the canvas itself. And then finally, there's the canvas and the work that goes on in this canvas. And we're going to be improving this over time and integrating search directly into this experience, bringing search to you. But one of the things that you'll notice, and I'll talk through in this talk, is that when you right-click on a term, you can actually look up that term, and it will drive the search experience over here on the right-hand side. So that's an integration of search into the canvas. And we're going to be even doing more of that type of thing. And you'll see some of that in other videos coming out of the Microsoft Search work and task team. So that's a quick rundown on the search surfaces that are integrated into the productivity apps. And you'll see more as we talk through the presentation today. All right, so that was a quick demo, a quick overview of how search is integrated into the Office apps. We'll dive into more details throughout this presentation. But let me just hit a few key points to remind you of the ways in which we're doing this integration. So we have a search box at the top, and that search box is there for quick actions, for triaging search results, and for getting recommendations even before you start typing. We have a coherent search results pane that enables the user to have a complementary search surface next to the canvas in which they're working so that they can produce their documents while having search available to them all the time to be able to find the content that they need to get their work done. And finally, there's the on-canvas experience, the search that's integrated into the canvas itself. And we will be enriching that more and more as we move forward in this search journey. So this search experience is really a simple and powerful user experience. The components work together to fulfill a user's intent, and we intend for them to meet the users where they are. So the idea is here we're bringing search into the app so that the user doesn't have to go elsewhere in order to execute the search process. And that means that we're constantly looking at trying to increase the precision of search results so that there's not a lot of noise, so that we can use the surface areas that we have really efficiently within the apps. to focus on the things that are going to get the user's task done so that the user can move on to other work that they might have. And ultimately, this is about coherence. We want to be coherent with the broad Microsoft 365 ecosystem. And the search experience that you see within the apps should feel familiar to you even when you go to other parts of the ecosystem, such as Office.com or Outlook, etc. Okay, another question that's often asked. When will I be able to use Microsoft Search in the apps? Well, as it turns out, search in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint on the desktop apps is already available. Unless you're in the deferred channel for your organization, you might not have search yet, but it will be coming soon. Search in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint online will be available sometime this year. And Word Online is already available in preview for some of you. And then search in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, the mobile apps, is part of the future roadmap of our investments. And we're looking forward to really enriching that search experience there. All right, so let's start talking about some scenarios, some user value propositions, right? What is it about search within the apps that's really useful to users? And we're gonna start with this value of working more efficiently. So I'm gonna jump into a demo that shows off how we can do quick commanding and referencing knowledge to get work done. And then we'll come back to land some of those points. So we've got another task here. This one is referencing some formatting that we need to do. It's asking us to stylize this as an intense quote and to include a link to a source. So there's multiple tasks here. Let's start with the stylizing one. This one's pretty straightforward. I can highlight the area and then go up here, and we can just immediately start saying, well, I know I want textile. So we get textiles coming up. I can click on that, and I immediately can find the intense quote, which is great. It applies that style to the quote here. Awesome. The other thing we need to do is include a link to a source. Now, this is a quote itself, and what we can do is just right-click on that and search in our search pane. And immediately we're getting some results coming back from the web. And this can be a good source for us. In fact, I know about this page. I've seen it before. Maybe that's where I got the quote in the first place. And now I'm able to actually include a citation or a link to this. So I'm just going to select this task note, and I'm going to replace it with a link to that. And there you go. Immediately we have now a link to the source for the quote. It's a quick example of how we can do quick commanding and knowledge retrieval and take action on all of that in the context of the apps using search. Okay, so we talked about the way in which we can leverage this commanding experience and the knowledge that's available to us to do some quick task completion work inside Word. When we talk about this, it's really about leveraging the world's public knowledge, right? It's readily available within the apps via search. And by combining that quick commanding with the knowledge lookup, we can achieve a lot. And this rapid, relevant search results that we deliver, it improves the user's workflow. It allows them to stay in the context, keep their work going. They don't have to get distracted by switching out of the context. It's a powerful experience, and we're trying to make it even better every day. Okay, another question. How is command search getting smarter? Well, we're really trying to focus in on using intelligence to inform the suggestions that show up even before you start typing a query. So the command suggestions that are there are informed by the activity of you in the document as you're completing your task. When you click into the search box, you'll see command suggestions that are based on the activity that you're engaged in. They're informed by that. And so hopefully the commands that are showing up are things that you'll be able to do next in that task flow in order to complete that work. Command search also includes more of the hidden value of the apps themselves. So we're exposing more of the galleries. We're enabling you to search using color and finding the objects that you need to create powerful visualizations. All of this stuff is starting to light up inside command search so that you can just type your query and you get access to all of this rich value that's underneath the hood of the apps. And then future investments will include bringing the command search intelligence closer to the user, right? In the canvas itself, in context menus, through this adaptive commanding where we show and suggest commands, and we have search boxes right there where the user's doing their work, enabling them to be even more efficient. So user value, another one here is leveraging existing work. This is such an important process in workflow, right? We know that leveraging existing work is a part of the way in which we as information workers get work done. So if you're talking about your own existing prior work that you've done that you want to build upon, or you want to leverage the existing work that others in your organization have done, this capability is being fully integrated into the Microsoft Search experience within the apps. So let's jump into a demo and show off just how rich this experience can be. I've got a few more tasks to complete in this document. You can see two placeholders for work to be done. One's an intro paragraph that I've actually written before, and I believe I recall it being in the Mark 8 campaign document. Another task is for me to insert a timeline that I've captured in a slide deck and a PowerPoint deck that has the visual. So let's start with the first one here. I'm going to do a quick search for Mark 8. And immediately on the right-hand side, we pull up results of documents. And there's the document that I want. I click on that. And this document opens. While it's doing that, I'm going to select the item over there to be replaced. And now you can see the visualization here of the document that I want. And here's the introductory paragraph. So I'm just going to quickly select that, and it immediately pops it into the document in place. So that shows off how text can be quickly inserted. This one, we're going to do a quick search on Contextual and pull up results here. We've got a few results showing from various places. And one of the things that we need are files. And here it's immediately showing me the Contextual timeline document and even giving me a preview of some of the slides inside, which is great. I'm going to crack that open, and we see that the slide is there and available, and all I have to do is click it, and it replaces that work item with the slide visual. And there we are. So a quick way to get access to multiple types of content in files that have already been generated or produced, and I can quickly access them and get my work done. Okay, so that was a quick demo showing different ways in which reuse content works. Reusing existing content is just such a common workflow activity, and we know that search in the apps enables quick access to user and organizational content. That's an important part of this value prop, making it really simple to get access to that and very efficient. Previewing content in the search pane reduces the need to context switch, as we talked about before. That's an important part of this process. So enabling the user to not have to open a separate document or go to a separate location, they can simply open it in the preview pane. And then we've lit up a modern preview UI over the top of that. So all the user has to do is click the plus symbol on top of content, and it immediately gets inserted into their current document. It's really powerful. All right, let's talk about another user value. Search is contextual and actionable. It's really important that the search feels integrated to the apps themselves. So whether you're inside Excel or PowerPoint or Word, the search experience is delivering to you value that's relevant to that application context. So in this next demo, we're going to show you a little bit of Excel and PowerPoint and how you can do rich commanding that's contextual and actionable in the apps. Okay, I'm here in the desktop client for Excel, and I'm working on a spreadsheet that's going to help us track the marketing budget for a drone proposal that we're making. But I noticed in this worksheet that there's a few cells that are missing data, so I want to correct that. The first one here is really should be a sum of this row. So I can just go up to the top and actually type sum and immediately get the function that I need. It opens it up. It actually is smart enough to automatically pick the cells that I want, which is great. I just hit OK, and as you see, it automatically enters it in. That's great. Now there's something else missing as well. I don't recall what these are called, but they look like charts in a cell to me. So I'm going to type that in and see if I can't find something. Now help is giving me some results, and if I look through this list, this catches my eye. Spark lines. I think that's the thing that I want. Let's open up and look. The help article here has some text and a video that helps to explain what sparklines are. This looks like the right thing. This is great. So I could read through this and get more information if I wanted to, but sparklines was the term I needed. Now I can type that back up in the top, and I immediately get the result that I want. I'm going to make sure I pick the right cell here, though, and we'll try this again. Now it's going to ask me for a range, so that's great. I can pick the cells that I want to visualize and hit OK. And as you see, I've got my sparkline in place. That's great. All right, let's switch over to PowerPoint again in the desktop app. I'm working on a product launch plan here, and you see I've just started the work. And I want to kind of kick off a section here on the marketing plan. Now, I really think our marketing plan is going to be awesome. So I'm going to add a little symbolism to our slide here. I can actually just look for a shape that I want to insert. A heart is a good one. And I can drop that right into the slide. And of course, hearts generally are thought of as red. So I can go and actually type in the command that I want and immediately get the red color coming up, which is awesome. I notice the line is still blue there as well, so let's get that fixed too. And just like that, through the magic of search, I'm able to actually search the galleries, the functions, all of the things that I need to do to get my work done quickly and easily inside the Office productivity apps. Okay. Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are really powerful tools for getting work done. Right? That's what they're designed to do, is to enable you to produce the documents that you need to produce for your work. Search in the apps is focused on the same goal. It's there to facilitate and make even more efficient that work process. Context is key for search. We're able to leverage the signal of the apps to do better work inside the applications on behalf of the user. And actions are key for converting those search results into completed tasks. Okay. Another question that is asked, especially nowadays, is how search in the apps really helps to empower users in a time like that of COVID-19, right? This current situation that we're in. It turns out that search is a really flexible and powerful framework for enabling remote work activities. Search is the thing that connects the people together. It facilitates collaborations, and it enables you to find content by other authors. So even in a distributed and remote work environment, you're still connected to your social network and to your collaborative network, including the content that's available through your organization, as well as the public web. So this is a key part of empowering users to get their work done, even when they're faced with situations like COVID-19, where they have to work from home, potentially under difficult times. Okay, let's talk about another user value. Expressing intent in an intuitive way. This is a really important part of our development of the command search experience, is empowering users to be able to express themselves in ways that is natural to them, is comfortable to them, inside the context of the apps. As you'll see in the demo, it's not always the case that users know exactly what the keyword is that's going to call up the right command. So we want to make sure that when users express themselves, they can do that in a way that's comfortable and intuitive, and we still deliver them the precise command results that they are in need of. So let's jump into this demo. So for this demo, we're going to focus in on command search. And in particular, we're going to show how we've improved the command search to account for the ways in which users might express themselves in a more intuitive fashion or comfortable fashion. So we can click into the search box at the top here, and we can state things in a bit more of a language that is comfortable to users. So for example, I might say something like, how do I insert a page break? By having this kind of language, we can start showing the actual action that a user wants, even though there's a bunch of additional language around the specific key word itself, page break. So by enabling this kind of experience, we're allowing users to express themselves without having to know a specific keyword in particular. Here's another example. Can I add a watermark? And there you go. We're immediately pulling up a watermark for users. How about this? Does Word support table of contents? And there you go. Table of contents is pulled up immediately. So this is an example, or a few examples, of the ways in which users can express themselves intuitively and still get the specific commands and actions that they need to be successful in their work. Okay, so that was a quick demo showing the power of command search when users have longer queries or queries that are not necessarily precise in the use of keywords. Sometimes users just aren't sure how to form their query, and that's okay. We want to enable those users to get their work done too. So we're really working hard to make the command search experience more intelligent and able to support users in any context. We want to increase the flexibility of search to find commands even when that query is longer. And we ultimately think that this increases users' trust with search, right? It empowers users to do their work. And by enabling this ability, we hope that we're bringing users, more users to the search experience and delivering value for them. All right, let's talk about another user value, connecting to public and organizational knowledge. This is an important one. We've talked about the value of the public web. We've talked about the information that's stored in the organization and one's personal information. In this next demo, we're going to show how intelligence can really pull information out of the organizational document corpus and give that precise knowledge response back to users when they need it so that they can do their best work. Let's jump into that demo. Now, I've been collaborating with other folks on this document, and I've been reviewing it just to make sure that I understand all the content that's been added. One of the things that stood out to me was this term here. In the sentence, there's a phrase, geographic ROI, and I'm not quite sure what that means. I understand the normal term, the common use of ROI being return on investment. But the positioning of this in use next to geographic surprises me a little. So I want to know more about it. So I can right-click on this and do a search. And we do see that return on investment is the common public knowledge version of this. But in this case, we actually have some organizational knowledge showing up as well. And one of the definitions for ROI within this organization that I work is region of interest, which is very interesting, and that makes sense relative to the term geographic. So this is an acronym for region of interest, and in fact, it gives me access to the file where this definition is given. And so you can see here that this is actually a document including a definition of the region of interest term. So the actual acronym definition from my organization is coming from a document within my organization and being extracted and made available to me here. So now I understand, and in fact, I can go in here and quickly just replace this with the full term so that my readers really, I'm sure that my readers will understand what is actually being said here. Okay, so that was a quick demo that showed the power of being able to look up acronyms in the context of their organization and find the information that's relevant to them to make sure that they're communicating their best work to the readers and consumers of their documents. So search in the apps will continue to connect to an increasingly rich set of public and organizational knowledge moving forward. And we will continue to enable efficient referencing of that knowledge in the context of their workflow, making users better at their job. And this actionable and contextually relevant search is really key to improving the quality of work done, and it improves the efficiency with which work is completed. All right, another question you might be asking, are there any other great Office app search features that weren't covered yet in this talk? Well, keep an eye out for a video by Derek Stenerson, a colleague of mine, on the new, smarter find and document experiences. The talk is titled Completing the Search Journey. Search your documents like you search the web. And there's a URL here in the video that will help you jump directly to that. I think this one's going to be a really important talk to go watch, because you'll see how you can complete the search journey all the way through. The one we didn't really talk about, one of the powerful parts of search integration inside Word, Excel, and PowerPoint is the ability to find content in the document itself and do that in a way that's really natural and powerful. And so Derek will be talking about that and showing off some of our newest capabilities. It's an important talk, and I encourage you to go take a look at it. All right, so in summary, Microsoft Search in the Office productivity applications. We've talked about increasing work efficiency, right? And we do that by making the results contextual and actionable, right? Users see that the results are relevant because they're working in the context of the apps themselves, and the results that are coming back are relevant to that specific document context, to that specific application context. And the actionable part of it is allowing them to quickly and easily make use of the content and manipulate that content inside their current document in order to produce an overall better work product. We also really talked quite a bit about enabling users to leverage existing work, which is an important part of the overall work process. And we've integrated that into the search flow within the apps, so that users are able to look up and reference existing content and then make use of that content in their current document, so that they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can leverage that existing work, get their work done faster, and everyone is better off for it. And then we talked about connecting users to the knowledge of the world and their organization. And this is an important part of the overall search story, the ability to extract knowledge out of these large data stores and be able to show them and deliver them to the user in a way that's really comprehensive and comprehensible, so that they are quickly able to understand what that knowledge is about, and then improve their documents in a way that really helps to inform the readers and consumers of their documents in a way that's accurate to the right set of knowledge. All right, so that is Microsoft Search in the Office productivity applications. My name is Nathan Fryer, and I hope you've enjoyed this talk. Thank you very much.